Setting up stream. Setting up stream. Setting up stream. Okay, I had to adjust that. I wonder how well that's gonna work. I think I'm gonna make it a little bigger. I like where that is now. I'm just gonna keep it right there. Hello, I'm Deb. I am back. I was having kind of inconsistent streaming for a while, and I was really tired in some past streams, and that's not very good. I had a lot of school stuff going on, but now I'm back, and I'm back to Cinderella Phenomenon, and I really love this game, so I'm really excited to continue. I will speak on some Nintendo happenings. I don't think I'll be getting the Switch Pro. The Switch OLED. So, I refuse. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted a hardware upgrade for the Switch, but that's what you're gonna get. I'm still setting up stream just a little bit. A little bit. I'm gonna hit continue. And we're on chapter 6. Oh my god, we made it all the way to chapter 6. So I will only be doing this for an hour today because of the heat. It is just really warm, and it's interfering with my hydration and comfort. So, and it's mainly because my computer puts out heat. That's why. So I hope that's understandable. And I will be spraying myself with water because it's warm. It's warm. It's warm. It's very warm. Let me go back. Okay, so we did like a thing. The mom was mean. It has been days since Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity. Yes! My theories were correct in the last stream. Yes, I remember now. My theories were correct, and her mom was the Tenenbaum bearer. The evil fairy, evil witch. No, sorry, evil witch was her mom. So I called it. Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity and inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turn 18. I have been trying to ask the king about mother, but he's even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. Well, you are a maid, so I don't know what you're trying to do, but the fact that I am a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. I just said that. When I am not on break, I continue to do my duty serving Emmeline. Right now, I'm accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia has been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds. I know how hard this is, dear. I had to go through training as well before I married the king. Emmeline allowed her shoulders to slouch as she let out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I had thought my posture was fine. This is supposed to refine it, and yet all these lessons I've been doing is hurting my back. Oh, Emmeline, you'll get the hang of this. You just need to keep practicing. But Mother, I've had the same lesson before. Why must I do it again? Because you slouch when you walk. That is unbecoming of a princess. Emmeline scowls at her mother, and Ophelia's frown falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother, you're not helping! The atmosphere in the room is far from heavy as Emmeline and her mother continue to conduct their lesson. It's almost the exact opposite of the lesson I had with Mother. My mom just, I don't know, but Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistakes. I know this is hard, but as the crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people will judge any small mistakes you make, which is why you need to be in top form on that night. I know. Ophelia clasped her hands. All right, now to start again. Emmeline groans before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts a book on her head, and begins to walk again. The book falls from her head on the third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts to process again. Neither of us break Emmeline's concentration by speaking. We stand idly and watch as she tries time and time again. I am surprised when Ophelia leans towards me and begins to whisper. Peony, I've been meaning to say this before, but I'm grateful that you are friends with my daughter. Oh, yeet. I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be her friend. You are not against the princess making friends with her servants? Why would I be? I actually wish more of the staff wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Emmeline to be on good terms with the people who serve her. Besides, social status is never an obstacle to friendship. Sometimes, not everybody acts that way, though. Like, people act like it's a huge thing. Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Emmeline, who is now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head. Just glue it on, queen. No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. You've given Emmeline the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you are like family, since you are always around us. Ooh, like family? After everything, it's just so refreshing to hear all this like positiveness in the game. Even before I was cursed, Emmeline was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wanted to be my friend. Oh my god. The thought makes me remember why Parfait told me about Mother threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turned to Ophelia curious. Your Majesty, may I ask what you know about the late Queen's rule? Ophelia looks at me quizzically, so I quickly add the thoughtless lie. I was not in Angieli and have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe with how peaceful things are in the palace right now. The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over Angieli. Oh my gosh! So she really was an evil witch queen. She literally, oh my gosh. The king had no power. The witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse incessantly and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed. Mother's reign was that terrible? What if Peony's mom is the one who cursed Rod? The king still blames himself for the darkness that befell Angieli during that time. This is why he works day in and out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue to work hard for the kingdom was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his children. Ophelia looked confused for a few moments, then brushed off the awkwardness with a small chuckle because the curse broke through right there. He helps the family in his own way. Is it possible that he said that in mind with me and Ophelia's slip up? But then maybe he was always referring to Emmeline and Rod. The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There are still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we are experiencing right now will last. I see. Thank you for telling me. It's a bit of a dreary topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. Okay, I got it. Ooh. I know it may not be a traditional protocol for a queen, but I do not consider myself a typical queen. I try my best to listen to everyone here, regardless of their title or name might be. She is very nice. Good ally to have. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I kindly nodded her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She has always treated me with kindness regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I always so distance from everyone, but now I see Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness, regardless of social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they had compared Ophelia to her mother, saying she was superior, but now I think I understand why they make such comparisons. Oh my gosh, sorry. I might be reading a little too fast today. I'm just kind of ugh. I'm still recovering from all the schoolwork, I guess. Oh my gosh. Emmeline dismisses me after my lessons. I begin to head immediately back to my room. Just turned a corner when I noticed Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling. Watch where you're going, child. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. What? I knew he knew. Why am I surprised? You are pardoned, princess. I turn to stare at him, but he's already turned the corner. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? But how could he have known that I am the princess? Is it possible that he is cursed? Probably. No, somehow that does not seem right. But if he does not have the fairy tale curse, could he be a witch that Delora warned me about? What reason was there to be unveiling his identity then? He just wants to intimidate me further. It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? Now I'm even more confused about who I am to trust. Peony. I jump in and hear Brock call me. His expression suddenly creases with something that is like a look of worry. You're pale. Did something happen? Tell him. Cinderella cast her nose on the princess. Do you think he is the witch Delora was talking about? What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he asks, is it? You don't believe me. I never say that I did it. It's just that we can't blindly accuse anyone without any real proof. Rod stares at me for a few moments and then closes his eyes, his eyebrows slightly furrowed of thought. Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are. I do not want to be so suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either, given these circumstances. You need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you can come to you can come and talk to me about it. You're worried about me? Rod averts his gaze from me. Of course I am.
Wow, you're actually being honest.
Bunny.
What?
Rod glares at Sibby before pinching his cheek. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? We already know how to dance. But yet left for practice. Rod doesn't answer and only walks away. I decided to follow him after him. Why did you follow me? I wanted to see you practice. But I have yet to see witness Rod's supposed talent for my own eyes. Our dance together was so short I barely had any time to judge him. I do not practice with an audience. What does that mean? Why? It is my preference.
Rod is easily embarrassed.
Rod groans and pinches one of Seppi's cheeks, glowering.
Sorry.
Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh. I notice you've been talking more lately, Seppi.
Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels.
Seppi makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks.
Oh.
Rod stares at me with wide eyes, and I stare back, beginning to panic. What's wrong? You smiled again. I put a hand to my mouth, flushing. I was smiling again. I never even noticed.
It was a pretty smile, Princess. Right, Rod?
Rod quickly turns away, cheeks slightly pink. I need to practice now, so I would appreciate you leaving. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. I should not be scolded for only being curious. Why not just one little dance to prove how talented you are? This is different from that short dance we showed Emmeline. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle as he leads me to an underarm twirl. Nani! Rod's eyes widened as soon as Anime abruptly lets go of my hand and steps back. I can only stare at him, my face warm.
It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear.
Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmeline and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Peony. You were watching? I only just saw the last few minutes, but the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. Couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put a hand on my cheek and turned away with a scowl. I am not, but it's on your skin. What are you finna say? Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. Do you like Rod? I stared at her. I do not. Also, you were forgetting that I'm a maid who cannot be with a prince even if I wanted to. He's grumpy and cold, and even though we are not blood related, he is still my stepbrother. If only Emmeline realized how crazy her words were in the light of the truth. Emmeline suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Peony. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when he gets to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help but think of Seppi, who always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they are contradictory. He was always so mean to Viorica when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. But then I realized he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew he liked her. I thought that one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but secrets are unveiling. Emily lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention out to the window. His attitudes towards her have changed ever since he was cursed. They grew even more apart, more distant, than Viorica found a lover. Is that the reason why you have been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them back together? Emily nods. The three of us were best friends. The Three Musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you do not mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? Emmeline stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend, Peony, and I know that I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting enough, but I think Emmeline is far too trusting. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I've read the story so many times, hoping that I can figure out some way to break his curse. I think back and realize I had actually read the beginning of this Little Mermaid a long time ago, but did not have the chance to finish it because I was caught by my mother. Okay, Peony said that. The Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does, so it can be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something else. Something in exchange. Wait, what? Wait. But what did he get in return? I was kind of asking this before in another stream. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. Like what, though? I've heard that the curses are derived from the original tales, but that they are twisted in some way to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly, thoughtful. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Viorica, but I cannot draw the connection. But still, Viorica might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through it. Oh my god, chapter 7. Be careful what you wish for. Oh, yeah, what did he wish for? I'm like very, very curious. This is what I wanted to know. Today was the first time I'm leaving the palace on a day off. Usually I stay inside, where the other servants always leave to go home. I never see a reason to leave since this has always been my home. And the market has never been home. Besides, it is not. I want to return after the conversation we all shared last time. Thus, I spent most of the days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move and she'd throw you out in prison. Throw you in prison? Girl, what? The townsfolk would wait for her to pass, but before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. There's no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my old life makes sense to me. Oh, that's really sad. I know why the king never seemed to love Mother and why the people hated her. And the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since then I have glared at in public. There's one thing that Good Curse did for me is allow me to travel around town without being noticed. As Viorica's shop comes close into my view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask Viorica. She must be related in some way to his curse. Pause outside the door of the shop with me. I open the door. Welcome. The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you're the princess's maid Peony, wasn't it? I nodded her. You've never come in here alone before. What can I help you with? I wanted to ask you something. It's about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He's fine. Then what was it you would like to ask? I just wanted to know if you knew anything about Prince Rod's sudden muteness. Viorica stares at me for a few minutes before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after I met my fiancé, Desimond. What reason do you have for asking? Well, wait a second. It happened after she got engaged. Right? No. I try to think of a plausible explanation for this, and I immediately consider Emily. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Princess Emmeline has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything, even to her. I have been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, Viorica smiles. She's lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I am still not accustomed to the fact that Emmeline considers me her friend. Before she became a princess, I was her first confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, I no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, Em always tended to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard, not to agree. With the way Emmeline was always smiling before, never thought she had any problems in her life. Only recently that I discovered she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she has befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I can tell you what I know if it will help Emmeline. To start with, I'm not sure how everything changed. But it all happened so suddenly. All I know is after the night I met Desimond, our relationship changed. At first, he still smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there. No, but soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night, and I was heading back home. I took the riverbank, because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong, and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of the water, only that I woke up and my head was in Desimond's lap. And that was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home, and he came every day as I was recovering. Then he came to visit even after I had recovered. I tried not to get my hopes up too much, because what could this nobleman see in me, a mere commoner? But I still ended up falling in love with him. You have no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl dreams of marrying a prince. It was in all of the fairy tales that I had read as a child. None of that was related to Rod. How does this relate to his curse? You said your relationship with Prince Rod changed the night you met him. I told Em and Rod about Desimond soon after the incident. Em was happy that the two of us had fallen in love, but Rod didn't say much of anything. That was when I noticed he started growing distant. Realized he had also lost his voice. He still won't tell me anything, but I figured that he was... Her voice fades, but I know that she is referring to the curse. So Rod lost his voice shortly after Viorica met Desimond. So he was Desimond is the mermaid. Desimond is the mermaid. And Viorica is the prince. The mermaid's curse has something to do with the tail. The little mermaid traded her voice for legs so that she could be with her prince. But that night, the only person who found their prince charming was Viorica. Rod's curse must have something to do with Desimond and Viorica. He became distant after finding out about Desimond. Why? Then there's the fact that he still spoke to Viorica even if he was distant. Only when he found out about their wedding that he became so cold. I found as I tried to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm so sorry, Peony, but I have to close the shop now. Sorry for the story. I know it had nothing to do with Rod, but it was after the incident that began to act strangely. I don't know if it was much help, but you have told me what you could. Viorica walks to the door, and both of us can step out onto the street together. Really hope you're able to help Emmeline and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ophelia the other day? Nobleman B. I catch sight of the two noblemen not sitting on a beach together. A bench! Not too far away from the toy shop. They're referring to Ophelia with her title. How disrespectful. Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress? As a queen, she ought to be wearing silks rather than satin. I don't know why, but I bristle at their comments. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but the fact that they are speaking so bluntly in public means they have little worry of being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Her talents must lie in other, more persuasive areas. It was very persuasive indeed. If the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. Oh my god, they're so mean. Two women laugh and I feel something hot begin to burn in my stomach. Very taste-shaped breath beside me. Being a man in the palace, Ophelia has been nothing but kind to me, and a mere servant. She has all the right to flaunt her status and title, yet she remains humble. I now know that this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man's attraction for so... Oh my god, what the I start walking towards him without thinking. Peony, I wouldn't... You have no right to say those things about the queen. Two women are clearly harassed from my interruption. Both of them glare at me. You have no right to eavesdrop on us. Eavesdropping? Anyone could have heard you. Their mouths were open. One of the women looked at me for a long time and stared suddenly as if something has occurred to her. I thought you looked familiar. You're the crown princess's personal maid. Is that what Ophelia's been dealing with for the past year? She's being treated so cruelly when she's done nothing but love the king. And I also ridiculed, just like her. I forced myself to look at the cruel woman as I moved my hand to the pendant hanger on my necklace. I was just as cruel as them. I barely feel Viorica's hand as it rests against my shoulder. Peony, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this. But I cannot let these two women talk about Ophelia like this. The queen has a good heart. She is far more noble than either of you could ever hope to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her. Ophelia could have easily reprimanded me for my behavior. She had that right as my stepmother, yet she has been nothing but kind to me. Oh my god. Ophelia never got angry at me, even despite my treatment towards her and her family. She has always treated others with kindness, even when they are cruel to her. Judging that from the bitterness in your accusations, it seems like you are jealous of her. How pathetic. The other woman marches towards me, and my free hand instinctively moves to hold her hand just before her palm reaches my cheek. Yeah. I will not tolerate any insults towards the queen. She got another good deed! How dare a peasant like you talk that way to us? Have you no manners? I could ask you the same. What happened to yours? How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see that you pay for your impertinence. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will, and I will go to the king myself and tell him about how rude you were. I can pass on that message myself. What? Whoa! I turned to see Rod walking towards us, his expression cold. The two noble women hastily curtsy. Your Highness! The noble women turned pale as Rod's eyes fall on them. What are you doing here without your guards yet? What trouble have you gotten yourself into now? Those women were insulting the queen. I thought a lecture was in order. Oh, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. What? Oh, she said that earlier, didn't she? She said that when she was mean. I narrowed my eyes at him. Something like this can't be helped. Bad rumors are unavoidable. Rod looks away, his expression suddenly pained. That wouldn't have happened if I had wished for it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait! This wouldn't have happened. Wait. Something like this can't be helped. Bad rumors are unavoidable. This wouldn't have happened if I hadn't wished for it. Is he the reason His mom married the king? Did he wish to be royal? Ron never finishes his sentence. He clears his throat before looking at us again. What was he going to say? We shouldn't keep you from returning home, Viorica. I'll take Peony back to the palace. My eyes narrow as I recognize the path we are on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it's not. We're going to the market. Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take a detour because someone was drawing attention to herself. What? But Rod ignores me and we walk the rest of the way to the market in silence. Waltz is the only person in the reception room. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Parfait here? Oh, we better wait here. As soon as Waltz leaves the room, he returns for me. What? Why? I wasn't able to say so earlier because we were out in public, but you should know how much danger you are in now. And yet, you thought it was okay to go around on your own? It was my day off today. It is not so unreasonable for me to want time for myself. Time to yourself? Don't you understand the meaning of be careful? Why would you do something as foolish as going out of town alone? You can't help but bristle at his tone. It's because he cares about you. Why are you so angry? Because you're family. What? So you're finally acknowledging me as family? Why is he so embarrassed? But Rod changes the subject, he turns away from me. Why were you with Viorica? I can only think of one reason you'd speak to her. My curse. You thought you'd find out about my curse through her. I can only assume that your curse has something to do with Viorica. I look up with Rod and says something in the stairs. He's taken Sebby off his shoulder and is now holding the doll in his hands away from his face. The two seem to be engaged in some silent conversation. Eventually, Sebby speaks words I can't hear.
This might be the right thing to do. You need to let her help you, Rod.
Rod bites down his lower lip before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually, he returns Sebby to his usual spot on his shoulder and returns to me. Fine. You're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating until I tell you, are you? You're right. Viorica is the reason I was... We're gonna find out! Ah! Rod sits down on the settee and lets out a heavy sigh. His eyes are far away as he speaks to me. Oh my gosh, we're gonna finish, I think, on the hour, so I'm really excited. Okay. I was in love with Viorica. I knew it, but I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. One day, Viorica hadn't come home and it was raining very heavily, so I went out to look for her. Found her walking along the bank of the river. I called out to her and told her to be careful, but I don't think she ever heard me. She slipped and she fell into the river. I dived in after and somehow managed to get us both onto the... I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off trying to find help and couldn't find anyone in the storm. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house and the doctor was already there. He was the one who... He was the one who saved her. That... Decimon did nothing. Decimon literally did nothing. I rushed to her house and a doctor was already there tending to her along with Decimon. When Viorica began to fall, I felt helpless. Did you not tell her that you were the one who saved her? Why would I? Viorica was so happy and believed that she and I couldn't do it. I want people to love, to be happy. I don't care if the happiness causes me pain. I'd rather bear that alone instead of bringing down this about me. My chest aches. Oh my god, that's so sad. I never would have guessed that Rod would be so selfless. But then that didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. I decided to become what I thought Viorica wanted, the Prince Charming of the fairy tales she so adored. And so I asked the witch to turn me into one. She stole my voice in exchange. Only then I realized she inflicted the fairy tale curse upon me, the mermaid's curse. The next day the king turned up at our house, proclaiming that he's been looking for my mother for years, and he never stopped loving her. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. I knew it! Oh my god, I put it together. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. This is so insane. But it didn't matter. I didn't see it when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blind to it forever. Desmond and Viorica really do love each other. They make each other happy. Nothing I can do will ever change that. Prince Rod? Oh, Parfait pauses in her tracks when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? No. Rod moves over to Parfait as he starts to glance at me. Won't be long. Parfait looks at me and to Rod and then me and then Parfait spills. She does not say a word to Rod. Oh my god. Oh god! I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak to Parfait or Delora about the suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go on, but I still find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decide to write a letter containing my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. I tell Parfait and Delora that I believe he might be the witch they are looking for. So add that I believe Fritz it might be somehow involved, though my suspicions are not well founded with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I've not heard anyone mention him. It's so warm. Here for a very long time. Girl, maybe he went and got cursed. Oh my goodness. I'm forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collide with someone. The linens have been holding scattered over the floor. Excuse me, I did not. I knew it. Lost in your thoughts. Sir Mithras looks at me, something veiled in his smiling eyes. I suppose those are the linens the queen asked for. Yes, please excuse me. Allow me to help you. Oh my goodness. My schedule for the rest of the day when I realize that Sir Mithras has been talking. I don't suppose you have any idea who that maid is. Maid? Surely you've heard the rumor of a young prince having been seen with a royal maid somewhere around town. Rumor has it that Prince Rod has been found in love among the common folk, much like his royal stepfather has. Rod with a maid? As far as I'm aware, the only maid that's been out of town. If it's true, I wish him the best. I wish he would be more discreet about it. I don't know what's going. A royal scandal is the last thing we need right now. I shakily take the linens from Sir Mithras as he inclines his head toward. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! So it's very, very warm, and I really, really want to stop. I think it was low key kind of a good stopping place. We're gonna yes, Rod chapter 7. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Oh my god. I'm so tired. It's so hot. Okay. Thank you for being around. And for everyone who watches the VOD, thank you so much. Follow. Huh? Huh? Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.